Welcome to Ed and I's Corner. This is Pastor Ed coming to you today. During the Easter season, my wife and I were watching TV, and we were watching the sight and sound presentation of Jesus. That was a great presentation. But as I was watching it, the Lord quickened to me the parable on the lost sheep. And if we look at Luke chapter 15, it says, "Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathered around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, 'This man welcomes sinners and eats with them.'" Oh. Then Jesus told them this parable. "Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and has lost one. Doesn't he, doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulder and he returns to the fold. And then he calls his friends and neighbors, and they rejoice at the finding of the lost sheep." The Lord reminded me that in this time of quarantine, that even though we feel alone and maybe a little bit lost, the Lord is concerned about us. Just as he was concerned about the lost sheep, he's concerned about us. I don't know about you, but as I read that scripture and I saw that, he left the 99 and went off to find the sheep, I thought, well, I better check into this a little bit. And so I studied, looked up on the shepherd and what he did. Well, they made a fold out there, or a corral, or an enclosed area, and they'd use brush and briars, and they'd build up walls that were high so that the animals couldn't get over and would keep most people out. So the sheep were safe inside. So then he was able to go out and look for that lost sheep. And as he went, he used his staff that he had. And if you know anything about the shepherd's staff, it has a hook on the end of it. That was so that in times when he couldn't physically get to the person or to the sheep, he was able to reach down with that hook and grab a hold of him, bringing that sheep back to safety. With rejoicing, it said that he brings the sheep back to safety. So I was kind of curious, what's the value of a sheep? Well, back in the time, Bible times, a sheep was worth about 2 days' wages for the average worker. So it was of significance to lose one of the sheep. As the sight and sound presentation continued, they tied in the seeking of the lost to Jesus going to minister to the man at Gadarene who lived in the tombs, lived in the caves, was demon possessed, was very strong, because it said they chained him and they bound him, but he was able to break the chains and the shackles, and men couldn't restrain him. And as Jesus arrived in the boat, he started to get out. And in the presentation, they show the disciples trying to grab him, hold him. "Oh, you got to stay away. You got to keep safe." But Jesus was more concerned about that man. And as the man approached, he bowed down before Christ, and the demons shouted out, "Why are you here? Why are you come to bother us?" But Jesus took victory over that demon, or demons. He found out that the demon's name was Legion, meaning thousands. And the demons said, "Well, don't throw us away." So Jesus allowed them to go into the herd of swine or pigs, and they charged down the hill. Recklessly, of course, and they ran right into the water and were drowned. But I realized that no matter what we're going through, whether it's good times or bad times, the Lord's concerned about us. And as I pondered on this a little bit, I thought, oh, if the Lord was willing to go out and seek the lost, He set the example for us. And so we as His followers need to go out and seek those that are lost and need to be comforted and cared for so we can bring them the love and joy. Are we doing our part? Thank you.